Today, we are talking about the unique language of the nervous system or the unconscious mind, whatever it is that you want to call it as. And the language of the nervous system goes way beyond words. Truth is, if we are in a dysregulated state where our nervous system is detecting threat, then words aren't going to do much. Why? Because the logical part of our minds, our prefrontal cortex, during the time when we're stressed out or even in a survival state, is lower in terms of its activity. It is hypo-aroused. And when we use words and logic, the communication between that part of the brain where critical thinking is involved and the survival brain, a lot of the times, especially in chronic stress and even traumatic stress, communication between both centers of the brain are not communicating well. So we can talk our way in towards regulation, but if the survival brain here is overly firing, like there's a circuitry there that always assumes that something is threatening, which can happen in chronic stress and even trauma, then these two here are not communicating properly, which means that the words themselves here from our thinking brains are not communicating as well to calm the survival brain down. Therefore, we need something else to help us get back to a state of regulation into optimal thinking and functioning. That's why affirmations, even certain types of talk therapy, can only do so much because it's not engaging the actual process of the nervous system that helps to calm the survival brain down. And what part is important in this? Well, it is our bodies. In our bodies, so we have the brain, we have the spinal cord, and from the spinal cord, there are nerves that go and innervate the rest of our body. And this compromises the peripheral nervous system. And so here is our peripheries, our organs are part of the peripheral nervous system, right? Our heart rate, our lungs, our gut, our kidneys, our legs, our muscles, and even our senses. When we engage these areas of our body, this is how we can regulate our nervous system, and this is how we can calm the survival brain down so that the communication between the survival brain and the thinking brain eventually becomes more harmonious and more balanced. And so, if you truly want to shift these practices properly and long term, if you're finding that your default set point of dealing with stress is frustration or even shutdown, when something is overwhelming you, you either um, get to a really wound up and riled up state, or you tend to, when something is overwhelming to you, something overwhelming is happening with your business, with your hypnosis clients, and you go into shutdown or even freeze, then that is a sign that your nervous system has become dysregulated. And when you can actually know what it feels like in your body as to what each state actually looks like, then it can truly, truly help you to come back to regulation. And so I'm going to give you a real example here with regards to the process of how you can actually start doing this for yourself. For example, you are someone who wants to stop the sugar addiction and cravings, right? You tend to eat sugar a lot, way more than you'd like, and logically, you know this shit is bad for you, right? Logically, you know that, but obviously, logic isn't winning here because there is something within you that just makes you want to grab that piece of chocolate or cake or donuts or whatever. And so you want to stop that, right? You are smart enough and intelligent enough to know that this is not good for your health and yourself. But when you are in that spot, like when you actually grab for that meal or that food, instead of telling yourself or beating yourself up and just thinking about, oh, I should not do this, I should not do that, I should have fruit instead of saying that, right before you impulsively grab for that thing, whatever that is, notice what is happening in your body. Because the stress response, although you might just be cognitively aware of it with the thoughts you're thinking and whatever it is that you're wanting, there's a bigger driver in your body that is driving behavior. And so when you can tune into your body and notice what is happening, like literally just do a body scan and see where you're feeling that intense sensation of wanting to grab that thing, this in and of itself can really stop that pattern for good. And when you can do that time and time again, that is going to be very helpful. I'm sure I have done this before where I would just grab something unconsciously just because I just want to stuff my face. There's so many feelings, right? There are so many feelings. You just want to stuff your face. I have done that so many times as well. And to be honest, things like telling myself that I have a great body that is a sacred vehicle for food. I am choosing not to do this. I am choosing to be healthy. I love vegetables. I love fruit instead. Like we've all done that. We've all done that. We've listened to some recordings, maybe, but that is not the thing that will truly help you deal with those cravings. What will is noticing the thing in your body. Like, what is that stress response in your body? What is your nervous system trying to say to you at that present moment? Because words alone are not going to shift it. It has to be a bodily experience. There are more sensory nerves in the body that travel up to the brain compared to nerve fibers that go from the brain to the body. So if we truly want to influence our brain, we want to use our body. And so the language of the nervous system is through these sensations in your body. Notice I'm not giving you any particular sensation because this is something that you get to figure out for yourself. I'll give you a personal example. When I used to do the binge eating in with sugar, what I noticed was that I was very I didn't notice this before, but in hindsight, I was extremely disconnected to my gut. Like I was not happy with that place in my body. And I really did not connect very, very well with my gut. And so whenever there was a perceived stressor, even though my gut was not hungry at all, it's like, we good here. But I didn't listen because I was disconnected to it. And it actually felt pretty numb and empty in my gut. Makes sense. Empty, I want to fill it up, right? Because those were the sensations that I was feeling back then that drove this need to want all the donuts. And so once I actually started specifically using nervous system regulation practices, that was when I took control over that craving and that unhealthy behavior. And so when you tune into your body, like your body will literally tell you what it needs. So we get to listen, right? And we are not the best at it at first. Even then, we will have times. This is not about perfection, but we will have times where we won't listen. And we get to take ownership and responsibility for that. But at the same time, it's really when you have that craving, when you're like, I am gonna drive to the donut place and I'm gonna get all the fucking donuts. And when you're in that mode of action, which is part of a sympathetic nervous system response, when you are in that, literally just take a pause and notice, body scan what is happening in your body. And what is automatically happening that is outside of your awareness that is causing this, right? What sensations are you feeling in your body, and what thoughts are you feeling, right? For me, it was emptiness down there, that therefore needing to want to add more shit into my body. But truth is I wasn't empty. I just felt empty and I perceived it as empty. But these are the things that you want to look for within yourself, right? Like, where is it in your body? And what are you actually wanting? Like, if you were to pause and just notice the sensations and they're going to be uncomfortable, what is that like? What are you noticing? And it is through this that you get to learn what your very unique nervous system's language is. You get to learn what your unique nervous system's language is, and you'll start to work with yourself instead of against yourself, instead of, we've all had this. We will go through that. We will buy the 2 donuts. We will eat it. We feel like garbage, and we're like, "What the actual fuck?" And then we tell ourselves the worst things about ourselves. We shame ourselves. That makes us feel even worse. It really reinforces that loop more, and then we repeat that pattern time and time again, even though it's completely unhealthy for us. And one of the best ways we can interrupt this pattern is just to notice what happens in our bodies. And like, I'm not giving you a step by step that you have to do this, because really, as frustrating as that sounds, and this is how I teach, by the way. I teach through principles, which is not really step by step. But once you get into your body and notice it, for example, I get this craving, I feel it, I feel numbness in my stomach. I will just kind of, like, as a spotlight, you're just going to focus your attention on it. You're not even going to do anything. You're not going to say that I love my belly loves me. Like, no, you don't even need to do any of that shit. You just need to pay attention to that area of your body where you feel that immense sensation that is driving you to grab for the donut. Just notice it and see what comes up. Just notice it, see what comes up. And instead of snowballing the thoughts and allowing and yourself to believe in the thoughts that are happening at that moment in time, just continue to place your attention in this, because really it might seem like a very long time, but any sensation, once you actually pay attention to it, once you pay attention to your nervous system talking to you, it doesn't take long for it to shift, like 90 seconds or something. So when you just sit your ass down and notice that sensation and put your attention on it without needing to control it and just seeing what happens, that is when you'll get your action step. That is when you'll get whatever message that you need to receive at that moment in time, and whatever it is that you need to take action on. So if I want to grab this donut, I want to go drive half an hour for these donuts, for 2 hour, I'm gonna buy six, I'm gonna eat all of them. There's that impulse, and then tune into the body, feeling it towards my belly, noticing it, just shining a spotlight onto it. And then something, an inner voice will come. This voice of wisdom will come and tell you exactly what you need, which, for example, you tell it what it needs. Maybe it just needs your hand to touch that area of your belly. And then after that, that driver, that thing that makes you want to go, drive for half an hour for those donuts, eventually will fade. And then eventually you will start teaching your nervous system that you are in control, which is an amazing skill to have. And so if this concept was interesting to you, if it helped, and if you want more information about it, I do have a free nervous system course where you will learn the survival trauma states and learn how to map that out in your body so that it no longer runs you. You take full control of your health, and then you can start using the amazing principles of neuroplasticity to change the way you respond to any stressor in your life, which you can imagine this skill is going to help you forever. This is a lifelong skill that is going to save you thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars in healthcare costs and physical and emotional costs as well, emotional and mental costs, I should say. And obviously, physically, our body will also feel a lot lighter, healthier, and it will improve the quality long term just by practicing these things every day, which then becomes part of you and your adaptability and your ability to handle things are going to be much faster and you'll feel bulletproof. So, this free introductory course is available if you comment or message me neuroplasticity. So I hope that this helped. I'll see you around and I can't wait to see you soon.